Picture yourself sitting across a roaring campfire from a friend. You break bread, you pass the wine, and you whisper your deepest, most dangerous secrets into the night. But what happens when the face of the man you trust melts away to reveal a bone-white stranger staring back at you? In Westeros, lords build massive walls to protect themselves from dragons and steel. Those defenses, however, offer absolutely zero protection against a man who can infiltrate a castle using nothing but shadows, a ruby, and forbidden blood magic. Lord Bloodraven effectively dismantled a rebellion before a single drop of blood hit the battlefield, simply by being the only person in the room who knew exactly who everyone else was. The year is 212 AC. Lords and knights from across the realm are traveling to the gleaming white walls of Castle Whitewalls to celebrate a high-profile wedding and compete in a grand tourney. This map shows the political layout of Westeros at the time. Notice the severe geographic fractures. Decades after the First Blackfyre Rebellion, the realm remains heavily divided between Targaryen loyalists and surviving rebel strongholds. When we cross-reference these names with the old rebel rosters, the true nature of this wedding becomes clear. These families aren't gathering for a celebration, they're positioning themselves for a rematch. Among the travelers is a quiet, unassuming hedge knight named Ser Maynard Plumm. He blends perfectly into the background of drinking and jousting. But Plumm knows details about the rebel lords that a penniless wanderer should not know. He watches the treason unfold around him with calm, predatory amusement. Packing a castle full of traitors plotting a war is a significant risk, but the real failure is ignoring the one silent observer in the room who sees entirely too much. The polite facade of the tourney eventually shatters. The grand prize, a priceless dragon's egg, goes missing, throwing the entire castle into paranoia and chaos. In the confusion, a towering hedge knight named Ser Duncan the Tall wanders into an isolated, dark stone courtyard to search for his missing squire. He steps straight into a trap. A jealous rival named Sir Aelin Cockshaw ambushes Duncan in the dark, driven by a petty obsession over the attention Duncan has been receiving from the tourney's champion. A vicious knife fight breaks out in the rain. Duncan takes a heavy slash to his side, but manages to overpower Cockshaw and throws the assassin down the black shaft of a stone well. Duncan survives the steel blade, but standing alone in the dark, bleeding out, he is completely exposed to the true supernatural threat stepping out of the shadows. Ser Maynard Plumm emerges quietly from the darkness to help Duncan to his feet. As he cleans Duncan's wounds, Plumm casually unravels the entire conspiracy. He reveals that the tourney champion, known to the crowd as John the Fiddler, is actually Daemon Blackfyre, the Pretender King. This diagram illustrates a highly restricted form of blood magic called a glamour. It manipulates light, utilizing a focal object like a ruby to project a false human shell over the user's actual physical form. The penniless hedge knight standing in the courtyard is actually Lord Brynden Rivers, known as Bloodraven. He is the Hand of the King, a terrifying albino sorcerer, and the architect of the Westerosi State Police. Lord Bloodraven utilized forbidden magic to embed himself as his own lead operative. He heard the treason with his own ears and watched the traitors' faces as they plotted, all while hiding in plain sight. Once the trap is fully set, Plumm simply vanishes from Whitewalls. Mere hours later, a deafening blast of war horns sounds outside the walls. The morning sun rises to reveal a massive Targaryen army cresting the hills. Look at this tactical layout. Bloodraven achieved total military encirclement by broadcasting real-time intelligence from the very center of the rebel fortress to coordinate his approaching columns. The rebels had spent months preparing for a glorious war. Instead, they find themselves entirely cut off, outmaneuvered, and forced into a swift, pathetic surrender. When the commander knows every conversation and every hidden motive within a castle, the actual siege is just a formality. The rebels were defeated the moment they let the wrong man through the gates. But inside the walls of Whitewalls, the trap triggers absolute panic. The cornered rebel lords realize they are doomed, and the castle descends into chaos. To stop the violence and save himself, Duncan's 10-year-old squire, Aegon, executes a desperate, terrifying bluff. He pulls off his boot and shows them his royal signet ring, revealing his true identity as a Targaryen prince to a room full of men sworn to destroy his bloodline. The revelation backfires instantly. A towering rebel warrior named Black Tom Heddle kicks open the doors, drawing his longsword to capture the young prince. With the rebel army closing in outside, and a hardened killer raising his blade inside, a severely wounded hedge knight is the only obstacle between the prince and certain death. How does he save the future king of Westeros?